If you think smartphone cameras have already peaked, the latest iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max leaks might change your mind completely. Apple is reportedly getting ready to attack one of the biggest weaknesses in smartphone photography: low-light zoom. And if these leaks are accurate, the iPhone 18 Pro camera could be the biggest jump we've seen in years. In this video, we're breaking down all the major iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max camera leaks, the new variable aperture system, a brighter telephoto lens for better low-light zoom, Apple's reported shift from Sony to Samsung for ultra-wide sensors, and why all of this will stay exclusive to the Pro models. So if you care about camera performance, night photos, and zoom quality, watch this till the end. Let's start with the problem Apple is trying to solve right now. Almost every smartphone, including the latest iPhones, struggles with one specific situation. Zooming in at night or in dim indoor lighting, you get noisy photos, washed out details, and sometimes the image is so soft it's barely usable. Phones can do great night mode shots at 1x, but as soon as you zoom in, the quality drops fast, according to new leaks. The iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max are being designed specifically to fix this. Apple isn't just chasing higher megapixels or crazy zoom numbers for marketing. Instead, they're focusing on real-world photography, sharper zoom, brighter images, and better detail when the lighting is bad. A big part of this step forward is the rumored variable aperture system. For the first time on an iPhone, Apple is expected to bring a proper variable aperture to the Pro models. If you're not familiar with the term, the aperture is basically the opening inside the lens that controls how much light hits the camera sensor. A lower f number, like f1.4, means a wider opening and more light. A higher f number, like f2.8, means a smaller opening and less light. On most phones, that aperture is fixed. You get one setting, and the phone has to digitally compensate for everything else. With a variable aperture system, the iPhone 18 Pro camera will be able to physically change the size of that opening depending on what you're shooting in bright daylight. The iPhone 18 Pro could stop down the aperture, slightly closing it to keep highlights under control, improve sharpness across the frame, and give you more of the scene in focus. Perfect for landscapes, city shots, or group photos where you want everyone sharp in low light. The phone can open up the aperture, letting in a lot more light. That means faster shutter speeds, less motion blur, and less need for aggressive night mode processing. Your photos should look more natural with cleaner details and less artificial sharpening. This is especially important for depth of field and background blur. A wider aperture naturally gives you that creamy bokeh effect, helping the subject pop from the background even without relying too heavily on software. Apple's portrait mode already does this with computational tricks, but combining that with real optical blur from a variable aperture could push the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max camera experience closer to what you'd expect from a dedicated camera. And it's not just about photos. A variable aperture can be a game changer for video. In bright conditions, it helps avoid blown-out highlights. In darker scenes, it lets you keep ISO lower, reducing noise. If Apple tunes this right, the iPhone 18 Pro video quality in tricky lighting could look dramatically cleaner and more cinematic. Now, let's talk about the telephoto lens, because this is where Apple is aiming directly at low-light zoom. Leaks suggest the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max will feature a telephoto camera with a larger aperture than before. In simple terms, that telephoto lens will be brighter. It will let more light hit the sensor when you zoom in. Right now, telephoto cameras are usually the weakest link in low light. Even if the main camera takes great night photos, switching to 3x, 5x, or higher often gives you dark, grainy images. That's because those lenses typically have smaller apertures and smaller sensors. By increasing the aperture size on the telephoto lens, Apple can dramatically improve zoomed-in shots at night or indoors. More light means less noise and grain in your photos, faster shutter speeds. So moving subjects don't turn into blurry smears, more accurate colors, and better contrast. Less dependency on extreme night mode processing. This upgrade builds on the foundation Apple reportedly introduced with the previous generation, a 48 megapixel sensor and up to 8x zoom on the iPhone 17 Pro series. With the iPhone 18 Pro camera system, Apple isn't just extending zoom range. They're trying to make zoom actually usable in tough lighting. Imagine shooting a concert from far back in the crowd, zooming in on the artist under harsh and constantly changing stage lights and still getting bright, detailed shots. Or capturing wildlife at dusk when the light is almost gone, but your telephoto photos still look sharp and clean. That's the promise of a brighter telephoto lens on the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max. Of course, hardware is only half the story. There's also a major change rumored behind the scenes: Apple's sensor suppliers, according to reports. Apple is planning a big shift for the iPhone 18 Pro ultra-wide camera, moving sensor orders from Sony to Samsung. For years, Sony has been the primary supplier for many iPhone camera sensors. Switching to Samsung for the ultra-wide is a significant strategic move. So what does that mean for you? First, Samsung has made huge progress in image sensor technology, especially for mobile. Their sensors are known for strong dynamic range, good low-light performance, and fast readout speeds that are great for video and advanced computational photography. If Apple is selecting a Samsung sensor for the iPhone 18 Pro ultra-wide camera, it likely means better performance in edge-to-edge sharpness, improved detail in shadows and highlights, and potentially cleaner low-light ultra-wide shots. Think of nighttime cityscapes, indoor group photos, or architecture shots where you want everything in the frame even when lighting isn't ideal. Second, this shift could give Apple more flexibility and efficiency in its supply chain. By diversifying or rebalancing their sensor suppliers, Apple can reduce bottlenecks, control costs, and maybe invest even more aggressively in other camera hardware and software improvements for the Pro. Lineup. The message is clear. Apple is serious about pushing the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max camera systems forward, and they're willing to adjust long-standing partnerships to make that happen. Now, if you're wondering whether any of this is coming to the regular iPhone 18 models, the leaks point in a very familiar direction: Pro exclusivity. Just like in previous generations, Apple is reportedly keeping the most advanced camera upgrades, the variable aperture system, the improved telephoto lens with a larger aperture, and the latest sensor tech locked to the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max. The standard iPhone 18 lineup will still have solid cameras, but the true flagship experience, especially for low light and zoom photography, will be reserved for the Pro series. This is Apple's way of making sure that if you really care about mobile photography and videography, the iPhone 18 Pro camera is the one you'll want. From a strategy standpoint, this widens the performance gap between Pro and non-Pro devices. From a user standpoint, it makes the decision clearer. If you just want good everyday photos, the regular iPhone 18 will probably be fine. But if you're the person who takes a lot of night shots, zooms in often, shoots concerts, travel, city lights, or wants more control and flexibility, the iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max are being built for you. The really interesting part is Apple's approach with this generation. Instead of chasing spec sheet buzzwords, the iPhone 18 Pro leaks show a focus on solving real user problems.